Greetings, Dan Sabo again. This is part 2 to the video I just made that is titled Northville and Plymouth Michigan per capita bar capital. Just wanted to make a couple of clarifications about the part 1 video. I said a few times bars per resident. And what I meant to say, or to be more clear, what I meant to say when you hear the phrase bars per resident, when you hear bars per resident, what that really means is bars per resident on a per capita basis. Now, obviously, if you live in Detroit, there are going to be more bars per resident, but if compared to a city like Plymouth or Northville, but there are going to be less bars per resident on a per capita basis. So I just wanted to make that clarification. I think most folks know what I meant because you can clearly see that the x-axis shows residents per license or residents per bar. So I wanted to clarify that. Probably more accurate descriptor would have been something like, residents per bar. But we're talking about per capita here. And when I said Plymouth has 3 times as many bars per resident than Detroit, what I meant to say is Plymouth has 3 times as many bars per resident on a per capita basis. So I just wanted to clarify that in case anybody got confused by that. And the other thing is I knew I had forgotten something in the first video, but these videos, once they get really long, they take forever to upload, so I'll just do it here. You'll notice you may have noticed there's one data point way up in the middle of nowhere. And when I first saw that, I thought, well, how the heck did that get way up there? Because this is for a very small town at only 3,200 population that only has 1 liquor license in town. So I remembered this data point right here. That city had, I think, about 50 DUIs that year with only a population of 3,200. They're almost way off the charts. And I realized that data point is for the city of Grosse Pointe Shores. Now, they have, according to MLCC, there's 1 liquor license in town, and then I realized, well, that's at the yacht club, and I think they have a marina there that holds over 1,000 boats. And the first thing I thought of was, oh, that's probably the Jobbie Nooner Outlier. And if you live in Michigan, or especially Wayne County, everybody's heard of the Jobbie Nooner and the great giant boat party out in Gull Island and Lake St. Clair that happens in the late summer, early fall. So that's probably what that represents. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's what it represents. That's why there's so many DUIs. There's probably a lot of boating incidents, and then they probably just haul the folks into the Grosse Pointe Shores Police Department. Again, I don't know that for sure, but it makes sense. So I just wanted to bring that up. And a couple of other things I wanted to bring up. When I posted this data point from 2 years previous, I want to make clear that there's really no direct causal relationship between arbitrarily adding 5 more bars that Plymouth wants to add and a data point from 2 years previous. My entire point in this was to show you a scale-wise where Plymouth would be if it was 2014 and relative to all the other per capita DUIs. So that was a pretty high year for Plymouth, the number of per capita DUIs or OUIs. So that's mainly for scale. That's not so much for predictability. However, I did it for scale, but I also did it because this trend curve is, this was computer generated, by the way, the power curve. I did not draw it. It was generated by the algorithm and the computer software. So what it's showing is the trend up to this point, and then past this point is predicting what would happen. So even though there's no direct causal relationship between the 5 extra or 3 extra or whatever liquor license here and the bad data from 2 years before, it does suggest that possibly that the number would go up astronomically once you get past 315 residents per bar as in Northville. So this was mainly for scale, just to give you an idea as to where Plymouth could be, but it's but it's all theoretical past the 315. So I just wanted to be clear with that. And the other thing too, now the only data that was available on the Michigan Liquor Control Commission website were liquor sales or number of liquor licenses for 2017 and 2018. They did not have any data available for 2016. So on the x-axis, this represents the number of operating bars in 2017. Now, what I did do, I compared the number of bars operating from 2017 to 2018, and it was very stable. There were very, very few changes. So I am trying to get 2016 data. I am putting a request in to see if it exists, but the person at MLCC was uncertain if they even keep that data. But even if there is a slight change, but from 2016 to 2017, it's probably only going to be 1% or 2%, so it's probably not going to make very much of a difference in the curve. If I do get that data, I'll plug that in and put that chart up too, and then when the stats come out for 2017 for MSP, I'll plug that data in to match it up, and I'm really curious to see what happens on that end. But I don't think that's going to be a major change, because you're not going to have like half or a fourth of the bars closed down all at once. It's probably just going to be an attrition rate of 1 or 2% or something like that. But I just wanted to do full disclosure on that, so if anybody looked into that, they wouldn't get confused. And another issue too is, well, not issue, but I want to make clear that for the city of Northville, it's divided in half. There's part of Northville is in Wayne County, and part of it's in Oakland County. So you had 2 law enforcement agencies reporting statistics. So you have to go to both the Oakland County and Wayne County spreadsheets to get the totals for Northville. So I just wanted to mention that in case anybody looked at data and only saw the Wayne County spreadsheet, and they might see, oh, there's only half as many OUIs as I posted. Well, the total I posted was some total of Oakland and Wayne County for the city of Northville. So it's kind of a weird situation having the town cut in half. The other thing I wanted to bring up, I was talking a lot about public safety, and there've been a lot of references in the local paper over the past couple of years, in both the Plymouth Observer and the Associated newspapers, and really Don Howard of Associated, he was right when he wrote that article a few weeks ago about Plymouth, don't spoil our town, and this chart really substantiates that, I think, because I've got a list here of articles that were printed in the Observer. Here's one from April 2015. Plymouth keeps lid on liquor licenses. December 2015, March 2016, Plymouth to raise downtown booze cap license. Plymouth to raise downtown booze license cap. March of 2016, most Plymouth liquor licenses okayed for renewal. Here's another one. Plymouth DDA says no parking, no new liquor license. So we've been reading a lot about the liquor license issue in town. Here's Don Howard's article, just February of 2018, Let's Not Spoil Our Town. And then intermixed with all this, we have all the public safety and parking issues that the city is concerned about. Business owners complain of parking shortage, and the train crossing problem. Long train delays still plague Plymouth. Trains continue to block Plymouth crossings. I'm just reading headlines here. Don't blame CSX Railway. Continued train delays spark residents' complaints. Blocked train crossings plague city. Trains block Plymouth Railroad crossing for 9 hours. Motorists suffer as rail workers push back. Stabnow was no show at the CSX rail meeting. CSX makes progress on blocked railroad crossings, and Plymouth Railroad problems far from over. And this isn't just recent. This is going on since, for decades and decades. You can go back to the Plymouth Observer or even the Plymouth Mail and see articles about problems with train crossings. So it just seems to me that in a small town like Plymouth that is not only so congested, but you have all these rail crossings, it almost seems to me like it's just asking for trouble to add more and more bars in town. So I just wanted to bring that up too. And I think that's all I wanted to say. I hope I've got everything. But one other thing. When I say Plymouth, I mean City of Plymouth and City of Northville. I don't mean all of Plymouth and Plymouth Township and all of Northville and Northville Township. Northville Township and Plymouth Township have their own statistics too. Those are separate from Plymouth. So I'm not talking about the entire region, just specific cities. And want to make that clarification too. So I think that's about it. And I hope you got something interesting about this. And thanks for your time and have a good spring.